Democrat donors going gaga over Kamala Harris, making some in the media suggest President Trump in trouble this final stretch before the election. FEC filings show that Harris ended July with more than $219 million in cash on hand, with the former president sitting on $151 million. But as this race has shown, anything can happen in the coming weeks and months. Let's bring in Trump donor, tech executive, and former ambassador to Austria, Trevor Traina. Trevor, great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. What are you doing to rally big money donors or even small money donors around President Trump?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on the show. And, I think that you have to take all these numbers in context. The Democratic Party is very good at raising money, and they always seem to have more money. I think almost what's amazing is how much money the Trump campaign has been able to raise, particularly in places like Silicon Valley, where historically that has been way more difficult.
It's true. If you look at David Sachs and Chamath Palihapitiya really rallying people within Silicon Valley, are you still seeing, though, Trevor, a groundswell of not only just support, but a fundraising in that area of the country for President Trump? Is it picking up steam as you get closer to the election?
Very much so. There's a number of interesting dynamics at work here. So the first is that when you talk about Kamala's numbers, remember that A, there was a lack of enthusiasm for Biden, but B, a lot of the very big donors were being mercenary, right? They actually held their money back. They starved the Biden campaign in order to get Biden out, right? And so as part of that, as soon as Kamala came in, they opened the floodgates. So that was not sort of some spontaneous thing. It was actually extremely deliberate, right? So that's sort of the first thing to consider here. The second interesting thing is that tech really kind of has come out in full force for Trump. And I think that has to do with a couple things. The first is that the Biden administration has been particularly bad at regulation. Lena Khan, Gensler, even Democrats who work in technology have been extremely disappointed and frustrated. And then you have new technologies like blockchain, where they've done everything possible to kill them. And you have the blockchain people now voting with their pocketbooks, and they're voting for Donald Trump.
Right. And then the idea that Kamala Harris will pick up where Joe Biden left off and implement a tax on unrealized capital gains, which is an existential threat to innovation and technological innovation in the United States forever, potentially. Trevor, great to see you. Please come back. I'd love to continue this conversation. Trevor Traina.